Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, just about anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for May 21st through 27th. Let's get started. The first thing we sold was a pair of Banana Republic Twilight Navy Seersucker shorts. We got these at a thrift store. We paid $2.18 for them and they sold for $13.58. They did take quite a long time to sell. We sold these on offer to buyer. Next up was a vintage 1991 lot of 5 miniature 3-inch little golden books. So they were like teeny tiny little books about this big. And they sold super fast. We got these out of a thrift store toy bag. We paid just 21 cents for all of them. They sold super fast for $15.98 on offer to buyer. They did have some writing on the inside front cover, like where it says this book belongs to. They had names written in that section. But other than that, they were in pretty good condition. And like I said, they sold super fast. So we are going to be on the lookout for those. And if we ever find them again in the future, we're definitely going to pick them up. Next up was a pair of women's Nike beige and gray rubber Soleil flip-flop sandals. We got these out of a storage unit. We had paid just 28 cents for them and they sold on best offer for $16 even. Next up was a really good sale. Definitely something to be on the lookout for. This was a Barney and the Backyard Gang 3 Wishes VHS. We tested it and it worked. We got this at a thrift store for just 24 cents and this sold for $37.99. Barney VHS, like original Barney VHS from the 90s, are definitely a pickup if you see them. They will sell for, some of them will sell for quite a bit of money. We usually lot them together and sell them in big lots. We've sold a lot in the past, maybe of about 10 Barney VHS for around $50. We currently have a really large lot listed for, I think, like $69.99. This one particularly is probably the most valuable Barney VHS that there is out there. And here's what you need to look for in this one, because there's several versions of 3 Wishes. You want to look for the version that has Sandy Duncan in it. That makes this one more valuable. And then also the earlier versions of the Barney VHS where Barney looks like a dark purple as opposed to the lighter purple that he was in later VHS. The darker purple version of Barney is the more valuable one. So again, the two things that made this more valuable are that it has Sandy Duncan in it and that Barney was the dark purple. So that's what you want to look for in this particular VHS, and it's called 3 Wishes. All right, next up was a vintage 1960s, 70s lot of 3 children's read-along storybooks and records. They were, some of them I think were Disney and then some of them were other brands. We got these at an estate sale. We paid $4.50 in total for all of them and they sold for $15.18 on offer to buyer. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was one of the Nickelodeon infant sun hats. We got so many of these out of the Goodwill bins one day, and I think this might be the first one that ever sold. That was just a bad pickup. They are not selling at all. I don't know what we're going to do with all of them. We might just ultimately have to sell them in a huge lot altogether, if that would even sell. If not, we're just going to end up having to donate them. But finally, we sold one for its full asking price of $9.99. We had our cost of goods on this listed at 67 cents, and we did get positive feedback on it, so at least there's that. Next up was a Call of Duty Black Ops Nintendo Wii game that we picked up recently at a garage sale. It sold really fast. We paid $1.50 for it, and it sold for $10 even on best offer. Next up was a 2018 McDonald's Happy Meal Transformers Shockwave toy. It was new in the package. We got this at a garage sale. We bought a really big box of all new in package McDonald's toys, and I think we paid like $2 for the whole box, and we broke down our cost of each toy costing like 11 or 12 cents. So I had this one on the spreadsheet for 11 cents, and it sold for $7 even on best offer. Next up was a package of Erno Laszlo New York Exfoliate and Detox Pore Cleansing Clay Mask. We got this at a garage sale for $3 and it sold on offer to buyer for $12.78. Next up was a vintage 1998 Hot Wheels Pro Racing John Andretti. I guess it was a car. I don't really remember. You'll see on the tile over here exactly what it was, but it was new in the package. We got this at a garage sale for $1 and it sold on offer to buyer for $10.38. We got positive feedback on that. Next up was one of those magic disappearing juice baby bottles where you tip it over and it looks like the baby's drinking the liquid out of it. These are a pickup if you ever see them. They don't sell for tons, but they always sell. So we're always on the lookout for them. It's better if you can sell them in lots of more than one, but I could never find another one and just eventually decided to list this one and it sold by itself. It sold for $7.48. We had gotten this out of a big lot of doll accessories from someone who was selling them on Facebook Marketplace. We paid 67 cents for it. Next up was an Arlo security system screw-in camera mount or mounting arm bracket is how I described it. This came with a security camera system that we purchased and we did not use this particular bracket, so we sold it. And it sold for its full asking price of $9.99. Next up were two Blue's Clues vintage VHS that we got at a thrift store. We paid 54 cents for them and they sold for $14.24, which was our full asking price minus a VHS promotion that we were running last month. And Blue's Clues is another thing that sells well. It does not sell for as high as Barney does, but we just do really well with vintage 90s kids VHS, so we will pick them up and we sell a lot of them. We get them for really cheap at this particular Honey Hole thrift store that we go to, so we pick up a lot of kids vintage 90s VHS and flip them, and they just sell regularly for us, so it's just kind of something that we've found is a good seller. Next up was a Tibor Gurgly. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it was a great big book of bedtime stories from 1967. It was a hardcover book, and we got this at a garage sale for $2. This sold for a full asking price of $24.99. At this time, I'd like to stop for a moment and ask you, if you are not already subscribed to our channel, to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It is the easiest and best thing that you can do to support our channel, and we really would appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, the next thing was called a Spartina 449 Daufusky Island navy floral linen and leather wallet or clutch. This is not a brand that I am familiar with at all. I just saw this at a garage sale and it looked expensive, so I picked it up. We paid $2 for it at a garage sale and it sold for $19.98 on offer to buyer. It sold in a few months. Probably not a brand I would pick up again because I don't think it sold as fast as I would have liked it to, but we made good profit on it and it didn't take forever to sell, but I don't think it moves as quickly as I would normally like. Next up was a Banana Republic ivory silk jacquard dress. It had a really beautiful beaded neckline. It was new with tags. I picked this up not because it was Banana Republic, but because it was a beautiful silk dress with the beading. It just had a lot of things going for it. And it retailed for $168. We got this at the Hoarder estate sale. We paid $5 for it, and it sold on best offer for $46 even. I did take kind of a low offer on this because I felt like this had been in our store for a long time and it just wasn't moving at the price that I had it marked, and I just kind of wanted to get it out the door. So we did get positive feedback on it and we made enough profit on it for me to be comfortable, so I was happy with that. Next up was a knitting board zippy loom project pattern book. We got a bunch of these in the Goodwill bins one day. We've been selling them on the regular, so this was a good pickup. We paid 61 cents for this, and this one sold for $8 even on best offer. Next up was a Nike adult one size white and black featherlight dry fit visor. We found this also in the Goodwill bins. We paid $1.18 for it, and it sold for $16 even on best offer. And we got positive feedback on that. Next up was a limited women's small blue, black, and white sheer sleeveless blouse with ruffles. This was actually mine. I just didn't wear it anymore. And I had gotten it at like TJ Maxx or Marshall's or somewhere like that a long time ago. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it sold for $12 on best offer. Next up was a 2010 Pillow Pet Pee-wee. This one was the cow version. We got this at a garage sale for $1 and it sold for $24.99. That was our full asking price. We do really well with pillow pets. We sell almost every one we've ever picked up. So that is another thing to be on the lookout for. We never keep a pillow pet in stock. I think the one pillow pet that we still have that we've had since November is a Disney Tomater pillow pet. That's the only one that hasn't sold like within a couple of months. All the rest of them that we pick up always sell and always sell super fast. Next up was a pair of men's. The brand was called Averex. These were men's jean shorts in a charcoal gray color and they had like an embellished pocket. It is not a brand I was familiar with. They just looked like fancy, so I picked them up at a garage sale. They did take a long time to sell. Probably not something I would pick up again. At this particular garage sale, we had bought in bulk and then I had just divided our paid price with the number of items that we had purchased. And I said that we had paid 72 cents for these. And these eventually sold to someone overseas through the international shipping program, but I can't remember where they went. But they sold for $21.58 on offer to buyer. Next up was another lot of 90s VHS. This was a lot of 5 Disney's The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventures, volumes 1 through 5 VHS tapes. And these actually sold on the day that The Little Mermaid opened, I think. So that might have been the reason why, because there was a lot of Little Mermaid hype going on. These we paid $2.84 for at a thrift store, and they sold for $28.49, which was our full asking price minus the promotion that we were running. Next up was a Leapfrog, My First LeapPad Disney Cars Interactive Math Book and Cartridge with the case. We got this at an estate sale. We paid $3 for it. It only sold for $9.58, so not much. Not something I would pick up again, but we did get positive feedback on it. Next up was a 2015 use and care guide, so just a manual, for a Husky 30-gallon air compressor. We had this in the other business that we own. It's probably from an air compressor that we used to own and we no longer have. So there was no cost to us. I mean, other than the air compressor, but we used the air compressor. This manual sold for $10.99, which is our full asking price, and we got positive feedback. Do not pass up on manuals that you can get for free somewhere or that you can pick up in the Goodwill bins. You would be surprised how well manuals sell, and it seems like just a little bit of money, but we sell manuals all the time. It blows my mind how often we sell manuals. It is like such an easy sale, and people at garage sales will just give you manuals for free sometimes, so something to think about. Next up was a book called Happy Days with Our Friends. It was a Dick and Jane school reader book from 1948. We got this from a family member who gifted it to us to sell, so we had no cost. And this book sold for $15 even on best offer. Next up was another book that we got from a family member to sell, so we had no cost. This one was The Joy of Cooking from 1975. It was a hardcover, but we had no dust jacket. It sold for $12.99. That was our full asking price. Next up was a lot of 2 packages of imitation pearl beads. We had 2 different kinds. We had picked them up at 2 different times from the Goodwill bins and then just ended up lotting them together. Our total out-of-pocket cost was $1.35, and they sold for a full asking price of $13.99. Next up was the last of the Black & Decker all-in-one laser levels that we picked up at a garage sale. I had purchased 3 of those, each for $2. and they all sold. This one sold for $22.48. That was an offer to buyer, and we got positive feedback on that. So that was a really good buy. Last, I'm going to go over all of the collectible cards that sold from my husband's personal collection. This week we had some really good card sales. We sold several high value cards, meaning cards valued at $10 or over, so I'll go over those first. The first one that we sold was a Magic the Gathering Mirage card. It was called Lion's Eye Diamond, and this one did end up going through the eBay Authenticity Guarantee program. And if you watched our last What Sold video, I think it was on our last What Sold video, you might remember that we had an issue with the Authenticity Guarantee program and that one of our cards was going to the same authentication address that that card had an issue with twice. This card is the one that went to that authenticity guarantee address, and we did not have any issues with it, thank goodness. It did pass authenticity guarantee and went on to the buyer. We haven't heard any feedback from the buyer either way, so assuming that they were happy with it. This card did sell for $390.99 on auction. Next up was a Magic the Gathering Antiquities card. It was called Transmute Artifact. This one sold for $202.50 on auction. Last was a Magic the Gathering Unlimited card called Blaze of Glory. This one sold on auction also for a price of $48 even. And we did get positive feedback on that one. And last, I'll go over the cards that sold that were valued at $10 or under. This week we sold 5 cards for a total of $19.56. And one of those card sales was from Mercari, and the rest of those were from eBay. And if you're not aware, Mercari now offers a first-class envelope option for trading cards that is very similar to the eBay standard envelope option. It is only available for trading cards at this point. Maybe in the future they'll expand it to other categories like postcards, but for the time being it's only available for trading cards. So we have begun cross-posting many of our trading cards over to Mercari since they've offered this option. For 1 ounce you can ship for 60 cents. 2 ounces ships for 84 cents, and 3 ounces ships for $1.08. There are also size requirements that you have to follow. The envelope cannot be thicker than 1/4 inch, and it can't be larger than 11.5 inches by 6 1/8 inches. And you get $20 of shipping protection for everything that you ship through that program. So we are only including cards that are valued up to $20. Anything else we're shipping as a first-class package. So if you want to check that out, we do have a link for Mercari down below. And if you want to join Mercari, you can join it with that link. And you'll get $10 to shop immediately after using that link. And then after you sell $100 in items, you get an additional $20. And it helps me out too. So if you are interested in selling on Mercari or even just buying on Mercari, do go down and check out that link because it's free money for you and it helps me out as well. All right, let's go over the totals. This week we sold 35 items for an average sale price of $32.14. Our sales totaled $1,125.01 for a net profit of $778.11. All right, well that wraps up this video for the week of May 21st through 27th. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button with the notification bell turned on so you can be kept informed of all of our future content. Thanks so much for joining, and we will catch you guys on the flip side.